Hi guys, today we're going to be covering Chris the solo dad who has built a massive social media presence over multiple platforms by portraying himself to be a single dad. Now I'm going to throw a clip in here just so you can get a sense of what one of his TikToks looks like because that is his main platform.
Alright, it's 8:30, I just got home from work, let's see what the house looks like today. Give me a hug. Hi mom. Thanks for watching the kids today. This is what a house looks like when you have 3 kids, 6 and under, never-ending laundry pile of shoes. Let's see what's over here. And more dirty clothes. I just had a chance to look at the comment section and you all are being wild. There's something we need to address. Alright, I'm gonna talk while I'm getting ready for the gym. My mom is here and thankfully she's letting me go. I haven't gone in a very long time. Now this is...
So the backstory on Chris is that he calls himself a solo dad, and I'm saying solo in quotes because while he never outright says he's a single dad, he definitely hints at it constantly, and he leans into that narrative in almost every piece of content that he does. For example, he often says that his mum helps out with the kids whilst he's at work, and people have pointed out that he actually doesn't even wear a wedding ring. I actually don't know what finger the wedding ring goes on. And the language he uses throughout all his videos, such as doing it all on my own, solo parenting struggles, and no one to help, it is so intentionally misleading. His content is mostly him doing home tasks like cooking, cleaning, taking care of the kids, all while narrating how exhausted he is after a long day. And don't get me wrong, you know, parenting is hard, but let's be honest, there are a lot of single women who do this every day. And I know many a single mum who work full time and come home to do everything without TikTok views and a comment section cheering them on. Chris says he works 12 to 13 hour shifts in healthcare, and during that time, his mum watches the kids. Then he comes home and does the rest. But the thing is, he actually isn't even doing it alone. He has a wife who also works in healthcare. They alternate shifts.
So I've been following a fellow creator here on TikTok named The Solo Dad, and I couldn't understand, like, he made it seem like it was just him, and he has 3 kids. He has like an 8-month-old baby. He said that, you know, he's kind of like in a financial hardship, and it's really hard balancing, you know, finances and all this stuff, and he's a solo parent. Well, I thought he meant, like, you know, he parents by himself. No, he's married, and his wife and him just work different schedules. So that's what he means by solo parenting. So he's gainfully employed, she's gainfully employed. They have a 2-income household, and you know, she's home as much as he is. They just work different schedules. I feel so gullible.
They co-parent. They've been married for 15 years. And that is not speculation, that is like something he himself admitted once before the solo dad image really took off for him.
With my wife for over 15 years, we both work in healthcare and we alternate days. She works 12-hour shifts, I work 12-hour shifts, so we never really see each other. My wife doesn't really want to be on camera. I'll try to sneak her on there for you.
And since then, it's actually been radio silent. He does not feature his wife in his TikToks. I don't even think he even talks about his wife in his TikToks. It's like his wife has been like completely scrubbed from the narrative because, I mean, like, who wants to watch 2 healthcare workers alternate shifts and parent their kids? No one really cares about that, but people do want to watch. People will be interested in how a solo dad who works in healthcare handles that routine with 3 kids especially. And the reason that this all like really matters is because pretending to be a single/solo parent, whatever you want to call it, it's actually really damaging. There are so many single parents out here, real ones, who do not have a wife or a husband. They are doing all of this that Chris is portraying, but on their own, without a safety net. There is no partner to help with the night feeds. There is no second income, which a lot of people struggle to live on their own on one income. Imagine the single parents that are not only keeping themselves alive on their one income, but 1, 2 or 3 children. There is no one to take over when that single parent is sick or completely burnt out. It's not just hard, it is literally a daily battle in every aspect, financially, emotionally, physically. So the fact that he's pretending to be a solo parent really just gets on my nerve because of that. Because Chris, you know, the solo parent, has a spouse. That means they have a support system. They have a stable dual income and thousands of followers who are helping pay the bills through brand deals. I feel like we forget that when people do stuff like this, they're not just lying to their audience, but they're also taking up space. This is space an actual single parent could have occupied. You know, an actual single parent who could have used this exposure, you know, the resources, the support, but instead he's co-opting a narrative that was never even his to begin with. And just when you guys think the performance ends there, no. Because Chris doesn't just stop at pretending he's a single parent. No, he wanted to take it one step further. He wants you to believe that he is a broke single parent. And I'm talking like painfully broke, like struggling to feed his kids type of broke. He will film these broke dad budget videos where he's like, oh, feeding a family of 4 on $10 or $8, you know, or doing like classic Dollar Tree like meal challenges. Kind of like it's like a survival challenge. I'll show you guys some of them on the screen now, and I'll probably play a couple for you to just get the gist.
I only have $14. Let's see what I can feed my family for dinner. I'm at the dollar store. I need to fill my fridge. Let's see what we can get. 3 kids, 1 broke dad. Let's go thrift shopping for my kids' Christmas presents. Cook with me as a broke dad of 3. 3 kids, 1 broke dad. Today we're shopping at the dollar store.
If you were actually broke, this would be a completely different conversation. I wouldn't even be mentioning it, to be honest. But look, here is actually the thing. He is not broke. No, he's actually far from broke. Far from what a lot of people would consider broke. He has said in a comment before that he's broke because of student loans and credit card debt and medical expenses, saying in a comment, no, I'm not single, I'm still parenting, and $250k in student loans, credit card debt, medical bills and other expenses is why I say that. But this doesn't really add up, because that would be a lot of money if you were earning like 50k a year, and at this point maybe you're not broke, maybe you're just managing your money poorly. Because let's talk facts. Chris is a physician assistant, and his wife, yes, the same one he pretends does not exist, is a nurse practitioner. And I've got some pages open about the average salary data for a physician assistant, and in the US this is ranging from about $100,000 to $140,000 a year, and for nurse practitioners it's actually even higher, around $120,000 to $140,000 a year. Now that's a household income of over $250,000 combined, and in 2023 the real median household income was $80,000 a year. So Chris and his wife are actually doing quite well for themselves. I would not consider them broke. And I think we are just forgetting that that is just from their day jobs, because on top of that, keep in mind, Chris has multiple monetized social media accounts. He's got his TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. He is pulling in views, sponsorships, brand deals, and we are talking millions of views a month. And you do not rack up those kind of numbers without companies lining up to throw money your way. Plus, he's got an Amazon storefront, so he recommends like baby products, cleaning tools, or like solo dad must-haves, and he gets a cut of every single sale because this is his Amazon storefront. That's passive income on top of already passive income. So no, he is not choosing between rent or groceries. He is not counting change to buy Dollar Tree frozen burritos. He is not living paycheck to paycheck, basically. But he wants you to think that he is, because the broke dad angle just makes him a little bit more relatable. It tugs on heartstrings, it earns sympathy, and most importantly, it gets clicks. It gains interest. Like, oh, how is this single dad going to afford to buy his kids a meal on $10? Let's have a look. And I think this is just the reality of social media. The reality is Chris is playing a character, a very carefully crafted and marketable character that is. Struggling single dad just trying to feed his kids sounds a lot more compelling, a lot more interesting than wealthy married healthcare professional with a content strategy. I mean, I know that's a little bit too far, but that's literally what this is. And you know what? It works. People believe him. People engage with his content. They comment, wow, you're doing amazing. You know, they send him donations. They share his videos like he's some everyday hero just doing his best in a system that has failed him. But the truth is that the system hasn't failed him. He's actually thriving. He just doesn't want you to know about that. Something that I forgot to mention, but I'm just going to mention it now before we get into the next part of the video, is his social media bios are very misleading. So I'm going to pop them up on the screen, but I'll also read them out. So his Instagram bio says, "Dad of 3, showing parents of my life solo parenting, trying to encourage dads to be better parents and partners." So clearly that sounds like he's a single dad. Well, his YouTube bio reads, "Hi, thanks for being here. My name is Chris and I am a dad of 3. I have a son and 2 daughters who are my world. I create this channel to focus on solo parenting and inspire others to be better parents and partners. My channel is full of fun, laughter and reminders that you are not alone. Follow if you would like to be a part of my journey through parenthood." No mention of his wife, and it does sound like he is a single parent. Well, his TikTok bio is a little bit different. His TikTok bio says, "Dad of 3, solo not single parenting." Okay, now we've got a distinction going on here. Trying to encourage other dads. So still no mention of wife, no mention of, oh, I'm just a dad. No, it is solo not single parenting, which kind of makes you think, what the hell is the difference? And that's the thing, most people do not know the difference. This is very misleading. Now, here is where things take a spin from full-on misleading content to flat out inappropriate. So a while back, a commenter creator by the name of the Dad Challenge podcast made a video calling out Chris for the way that he exploits his kids on camera. So the video that the Dad Challenge podcast did was basically kind of just a video like I'm doing now. He just calls out Chris's hypocrisy, of having a wife and keeping a private whilst putting your kids, who actually can't even consent to being on camera, on spotlight. So it's a bit of a weird dynamic there, but also just about lying about being a single dad. Well, you will never guess what actually happens next, because genuinely when I heard about this, I was like, there's no bloody way. Well, instead of responding directly to the Dad Challenge podcast, Chris DMs his wife. Like, just DMs his wife randomly. Like, not the guy that made the video, no, his wife. Like, who comes to think of that? And by the way, this message, it is not like a calm, respectful conversation. It is worded in a way that feels like threatening and borderline like kind of manipulative, I'm not gonna lie. He claims that like he's being harassed and doxxed and that he's contacting the FBI. What? He threatens legal action, even implies that the Dad Challenge podcast wife could lose her job because of her husband's videos. You can't even make this up. I'm popping it on the screen, like the message is on the screen, but I am gonna read it out for you guys because this was mad. "Hi Kathy, my name is Chris and I am a dad of 3 who makes content trying to encourage dads to be more active in their kids' lives and be better partners by showing me solo parenting." Does that make sense to everyone? For some reason, maybe my brain's like not processing that, but that doesn't make sense to me. But it's very similar to his YouTube bio. "Your husband is harassing, bullying me and doxing my personal information, putting my kids' safety at risk. I already contacted the FBI. And I will be contacting your local police department in Canada. Does the board of nursing and your hospital know what your husband is doing? It's illegal, and in Canada you can be arrested for 6 years if found guilty. I have screenshots, recordings, pics of emails of every time he has contacted me, and I've had enough. Please tell him to leave me and my family alone." Like, excuse me, what? Why are you dragging someone's spouse, someone who has nothing to do with the content, into this? That's like not just unprofessional, but that's creepy and inappropriate. And if you've got a problem with the video, reach out to the person that made it, not their partner. And it really just comes across like an intimidation tactic, like he's trying to scare, the Dad Challenge podcast into silence by threatening his wife's career and getting the FBI involved. What the hell? Stop bothering the FBI. They have a lot more on their plate, trust me. Like, this is fucking insane. I just feel like this shows a lot about Chris. Like, faking being poor and faking being a single dad is one thing, but when you're being exposed for it, you can just like sit down and like be quiet and just pretend that nothing's happening, but messaging random people that aren't involved is absolutely out of order. That's insane. Genuinely, what a weird twist to the story. That's kind of it for today, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and please like, subscribe and leave a comment. I've been going through it recently in my personal life, so when I posted my last video and I read all the comments, like there were so many lovely comments, it genuinely motivated me to keep going. I was like, oh, maybe I'll take a break off on YouTube for like a month or two, but genuinely the comments in my last video helped me so much, and thank you to everyone that has just been supporting me throughout this whole YouTube journey. It is actually insane and it means a lot to me. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in another video. Bye bye.